map ban system for you here. The thing that I've noticed more than anything is that potential is the word for Cloud9. They are a roster that I think can inhabit somewhere, at least for the time being, that mid to upper echelon of North America, and they have glimmers of hope, and they have glimmers of superiority over their opponents, but they can't always put it together, especially over the last couple weeks, as they've very much been under the microscope. They have committed probably more errors, I want to say, than almost any other North American team in the last 3 weeks. Oh, yeah. Simple things, having huge numbers advantages, fighting for frags, not being able to get a plant down, not proper coverage, terrible, execution when you're transitioning from the mid round. These are all things that the team that have proven that they can stand shoulder to shoulder with excellent opponents have really dropped off. And keep in mind, as we said to start all this off here, is we're waiting on the last 2 maps to be banned out as Clubhouse and Border are the first 2 gone. There goes Consulate as well. And we're actually going to go to Villa, which is where...
A map that they
played on. So this was
okay.
That was the first time, if I remember correctly, I think that was the first time that we saw Villa in Pro League.
Yes.
And it was a draw, 5-5, and we're actually going to go back to Villa. So that's very intriguing.
It's probably because Fox Davide wants to take us back to Italy, right? That's where he comes from, right? But back then, when they played Villa, I want to mention him specifically. His Jackal play on it using the ITA secondary was very ingenious, and I can't wait to see what they have created throughout the past couple of months. See, maybe there's a lot of spots that are still left unchecked on Villa.
Villa has had a bit more play, and of course you don't know that we were going to be competing on Villa, but what are your thoughts here? Typically Cloud9 does quite well in the community vote. They're a very popular organization. They're a popular team. They've got popular players on it, and as to be expected, that's somewhat in line with what I would anticipate given the record of these teams, especially with the fact that, Cloud9 is, at least for the time being, has performed better, I think, over this stretch than Noble has, even though they don't have a ton to show for it points-wise inside of Pro League.
Yeah, I mean, the big question for Noble is, was the change from Heavy to ZZ really worth it? And does it really change up the way? Because that's one of the big differences that we had from earlier on in the season to today. And obviously, C9 back then was not playing with Mark. That's an extra bit of fragging power that the team sorely needed, but will the communication be on point here to get the execution correct and get a plant after it? Because that, my God, if I had a nickel for every time C9 failed to plant a bomb when they had all the advantages, I would be a billionaire right now, Parker.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is quite a bit of money. And let's focus away from just a second here, because Noble's going to be starting on defense. C9 is going to have 5 rounds to show us whether they've been able to tighten up this mid-round to late-round maneuvering that they obviously, I think, need to do better on. The way that C9 has played after adding Mark is they're a lot more confident in their off-site play, but their anchor play has struggled a lot. When you look at the way that Villa works, it's assumed that you're going to do better on defense than you do on attack. As been said by many players in many interviews, the focus of Villa is win your defenses.
Yeah.
Not that it's necessarily more defender-sided, though I think it is. It really depends on the way that the teams play. And looking at the bans right now, Lion and Ying will be the 2 attacker bans. Mira and Maestro will be the 2 defender bans. So really nothing surprising or outside of the ordinary here. You're anticipating that the defense are going to do quite well. Now, because of this, it's going to be very difficult for C9 to prove right off the hop if they've managed to fix the fact that they have a huge numbers advantage in being able to get that diffuser down. A failure to secure the point is very, I think, affectionately referred to as a C9 lull in the eSports community.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that it does seem to dog this team in Rainbow Six as well. So when you come into defense here on Villa, and that's going to be your focus, is you need to do better than a lot of teams do, because it's harder as an attacking squad to get an execute pulled off here. Not only are you going to have the actual map working against you, but you've also got the fact that over the last couple weeks, you've really struggled to be able to do your job as an attacker. And that could possibly be a major thorn in the side of C9. Yeah,
no, something I focus on, though, for the attacking side of Villa, and I will continue to focus on it until Villa is completely changed, is that bedroom. You go up there, completely soft floor. You're bringing a Zofia here. That's C9, and they're bringing Retro on it. So I wonder, we were talking about this before, having the breaching charges on the Zofia. That's the question. if they do have it, and they do not, and they're bringing the Unicorn LMG actually, there's no 7.62, which is pretty darn odd. I wonder how they're going to try to do this one. But Claymore's going to get set up by the bike room, and I don't know if somebody's going to go up top and try to play the top-down position, because here C9 are bringing Maverick, and I think they were expecting to push upstairs into aviation and not into the very first site here in kitchen early on.
I mean, it looked like we were going to see a clash as well from Noble's side of things, which just strikes me as possibly trying to throw off Cloud9 and give them a bit of that mental game, I suppose, or the mind games to play against them. But I mean, I don't think it's that strange to see the LMG get trotted out by Zofia. In fact, it's actually seen its pick rate spike over the last little bit here. Noble gonna have ZZ just look through the studio doorway, try to catch somebody off guard. That's a good angle to hold, and you might want to keep somebody committed to flank watch there, but a logic bomb will at least prompt ZZ to fall off for the time being and reset his phone. Everybody is just going to pause for just a moment, and Retro is going to get very, very close inside a laundry. And that LMG is a great job of doing suppressing fire, but first kill is going to come out to Noble. That's ZZ being able to take down Goddess, take down the Capitao, and usually take down the main planter as well. And that was just the Valkyrie still staying in that art studio, watching the doorway. Excellent crossfire potential through laundry as well.
And look, the diffuser is just out in the open, and now C9 have to go for it. There we go, finally taking control of it. But their hard breacher here is the Maverick, and with the wall being reinforced, it's going to be very complicated for them to move in because they're funneled in. And because of that, they get team flashed here. So Retro is just going to try to peek through. Nobody's contesting him from kitchen. I have to say, very smart play from Noble here as they just sit back. But Mark's going to open up side of the wall into the kitchen. Nobody's peeking through it there, however, so he's not going to be able to get a kill off of this advantageous position. Laxing finally coming up top to the bedroom. There's 42 seconds left on the clock, and Yeti has already secured the kill on Retro.
This is a big thing for C9 right now. They are running out of time, and a good hold from Noble as they just look to try to cut off Cloud9's advance. That's what those toxic canisters are going to do quite well for, and Laxing drops from above, but Yeti is there. Mark trying to open as much up as possible, and Fox A walks right into the Lion's Den. He'll get shut down, and it's a 1v5 for Mark. Mind you, Crazy has been down, so technically a 1v4, but Mark's position will be known as he triggers one goo mine, and then Acid will pop up from behind the overturned table and secure a pretty big kill for Noble and being able to take that first round here on defense. That thing's going according to plan for Noble. And really, the offense just sputtered for C9 there, especially after losing Goddess early. You'd have to guess that, yeah, they might not have been anticipating going to Kitchen as you mentioned, but losing Capitao, usually an operator who is an integral part of every single push, that's a pretty tough loss to have right away.
Yeah, I mean, C9's adaptation, I guess, to Noble's play in Kitchen was to try and come in through the pantry and push in from the stairs. That's where they put the Maverick. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough as nobody really was sitting around Kitchen. They realized they only needed to defend the dining area, and outside of that, they could roam around the top floor or on the opposite end of the map. Nobody's going to move in through there. And right at the end, you just saw Fox moving with the Dokkaebi. So he wasn't really able to do much with it because by the end there wasn't enough manpower, and the pick on the Capitao forced C9's hand to get more aggressive and stick closer to the site, which meant that Noble had a better beat on them, and they're able to dedicate more manpower towards the already very funneled positions that C9 would have to use to get into the site. And it was just shooting gallery at that point. C9 were able to achieve much with it. The interesting part of this defense, though, is that obviously since Kitchen was one, they can't play it. They're going to go up top and try to play in the trophy room. But they're also bringing the Frost. And Frost has had a decent chunk of success on quite a few maps. If you can surprise your opponents with it, end of rounds with little time left, which is what has been happening quite a bit to C9 in the past couple of weeks, it can very much disrupt them and not allow them to focus on taking down those traps early on. This time, Mark bringing the Maverick again. They're going to push through better.
I always hesitate to compliment teams when they bring in newer operators because there are a lot of times where teams haven't been able to fully flesh them out. We saw this with Ying actually quite a bit at the start of Season 6, if I remember correctly. That was a specific season where she debuted. A lot of teams just weren't really aware of how to use her all that well. Legion as well saw a number of months where he didn't really fit into a proper team composition. Dokkaebi as well. And I mean, yes, there's a way to use Maverick within your composition and to do it well. You poke open these holes in the wall, you relieve some pressure on the rest of your team, and more importantly, you put pressure onto the defenders to have to sit back a little bit less cautiously and have to be a bit more proactive, because you realize that a lot of these sightlines now are in favor of your opponents. Acid sees exactly what's happening with that Maverick, and as I mentioned, you now need to be far more conservative with the way that you sit, because you can't counter that effectively. That wall is just going to continuously get opened up unless somebody eliminates the Maverick. And first contact comes from Breezy onto the glass. Laxing manages to get it down onto the smoke. We'll see if they're able to pick him up in time, but it's a possible slugfest right now as C9 are just circling in. Both Breezy and Crazy have taken a lot of damage. Now Acid down to Mark, and Mark a double kill. Traded off by a C4 from ZZ, so there you go. All of this enabled as now Yeti has been dropped too. This is just non-stop.
It's been taking a while here for Noble to come back onto the site. We'll have ZZ on it to hold right by the statue here in the statue room. Laxing peeking in from Astronomy. He's not going to find the player down on the floor just yet. Of course, the Jaeger was eliminated in that position not long ago. Breezy's low on health, and they haven't been able to find him yet. C9 have the advantage overall with a lot of time, so their focus here is to go in for a plant, but before they could do that, it's already the kills in their way, and there you go, Cloud9 get the second round on the board. Playing very efficiently to get the early picks off of the Maverick, obviously, but then conservatively slowing things down, making sure that they allow Noble to rotate back on the site whilst they reposition to get picks on players that will try to overpeak and fight them on the site itself. Obviously, they have the glass. Obviously, they have the better angles that have been facilitated through the use of the Maverick, so the advantage all in their way with those technically post-plant positions.
I mean, and really all of that came down to was Mark, and I was saying that I can be quite critical of new operators not being able to fit in, but when you look at Trophy, especially the way that they were playing that Trophy area over by a statuary as well, and that statuary wall that leads into the master bedroom, you can't do anything about the Maverick there. The only way to be able to dispatch him is from below. Unless you have somebody playing an Astro who can possibly swing in through that bathroom. But then there's almost always somebody watching it from the attacker side of things. So there isn't really much of an option to deal with Maverick in that position. I think it plays to the strengths of Maverick as an operator and makes it extremely difficult for the defenders to be able to react. And once all of those holes got opened up, the way that Mark was able to just put a tiny little pinhole in all of those walls, it empowered Laxing's glass to just fire in freely. And then you saw all of Noble move off of Astronomy, try to head over to Trophy, and try to play that one angle on the one side of Statuary, and that's it. That's a tiny amount of space. You're very cramped, and C9 just continuously pressed and pressed and pressed, and there was nothing to stop them.
You saw the C4 play was a bit too late to shut down the Maverick there from the kitchen. Maybe had there been a player downstairs, it would have changed things. We've seen some teams in EU doing it. I think there was a match between Secret and the Millennium that really highlighted that sort of play with C4 from the bottom floor. It's difficult to deal with, but hey, who would have thought Maverick not really having anything to counter him except for just shoot him, lol, would give him a huge advantage in that position.
Yeah, you get a lot of usage out of the operator from that, and like I said, it really plays to his strengths. And one of the biggest assets that the defenders have is that once that wall gets open, they can play it from below, or they can try to hold long angles. It's typically why you will see a Rook or a Doc get run, or even a Maestro. Of course, you know, Maestro is banned, so you've got to have a Rook, or you've got to have a Doc, or even an Echo available if he does go unbanned, which in this case he has. So it's always difficult for the defense to be able to punch back after that hard destruction goes off. but especially so when you're looking at Maverick. Now, as we shift towards the third round, it's going to be Aviator games, and Dokkaebi is being a particular important piece of Cloud9's strategy. It's being able to lock people down and then have either Retro, Mark, or Laxing be able to jump on them. And Laxing's just going to hard hold this angle to see if he's going to be able to catch a rotate as the rest of his team tries to catch up, and first bit of contact is going to come from Mark. He's going to down Yeti, but it's a Doc. He's got that ACOG equipped, and he's just going to pick himself right back up.
Yes, staying alive there all the way in the back as Laxing holds the cross angle, but you already see, of course, the Doc of Yeti moving back, playing in that L hallway. Goddess, though, will down and take down ZZ. Yeti again taking a lot of damage, and the call will come in from the Dokkaebi. So they're trying to use this as best as possible to clear out the players in L hallway, but it's Mark that will go down before his effect is seen with the Maverick. And more damage is done to C9 as they hit the goo mines of the Legion of Acid. They'll rotate back on the site here, Noble, to try and stop the attack as Breezy will get the first one on Goddess.
This is just an act of desperation now as C9 are going to bull rush in. Foxay and Retro very low on HP. Foxay managing to get the plant down, but there's zero coverage, and it's a double kill from Yeti. He'll stack them up. Retro is the only one there to possibly be watching. Laxing fails on the flank hold from the other site. They don't get the cross. Crazy will finally get the last kill, and that will be Noble now putting their second on the board. So the defenders picking up a win on Aviator. Kitchen will unlock back downstairs, allowing Noble to go back down there if they want. After I think the mess that was Trophy and Statuary, I would be very surprised if we see Noble go back there. But I mean, look at that. They've got it picked and are ready for it. Maybe the Clash could possibly play a difference here. Maybe they can opt to go for a bit of a long-range fight, especially if they lose control of that wall. And they don't have a Clash, but they're going to roll with the Echo, and we'll see if a 6-pick comes in.
And I hope that there's a 6-pick to Clash. There you go. They realized that the big problem in the round that they played on Trophy, so a couple rounds ago, was the fact that C9 was able to roam free into bathroom and come in from the bottom floor. The Frost had no effect on the round, so bringing the Clash makes sure that at least that bathroom is much more difficult to contest for C9. You have to worry about the side window, obviously looking into astronomy. Otherwise, you're kind of in a safe position, but at least to make sure that you can pressure the Maverick at all times, because it's going to be staying mostly in bedroom. It might allow you to play with C4 from downstairs. Of course, the Valkyrie here from ZZ will get played. So overall, a much better operator pick for this round. It just depends on how you implement it, because you can't just play the Clash solo unless you're in a confined position, and even then, it's not something that's guaranteed to work. The big thing is, let's remove the Maverick from play. We'll take him out, we'll use the Clash to distract C9, and then we'll try to play C4s from below. That's the one that makes the most sense. The castle in this here was going to be bringing the bulletproof camera. Noble realized, okay, we don't really need the impacts. There's no Thermite, there's no Habana, there's no reason for us to worry about that by the bedroom. So we'll just run for something that gives us more information, and they'll set it in the back of astronomy to hold down the entirety of the hallway looking down into bathroom. But I wonder where they put the Clash in first. Oh.
Just keeping her in the hallway. In an area where you can just have to funnel into, and you'll end up running into her, and you'll see what they'll be able to get with it. Now, keep in mind that the Clash is able to also harass Maverick if need be, if you try to keep her close to that site. The only issue is that the Capitao on the board is a very hard counter for Clash, so you'll be able to just fire in one of those asphyxiating bolts, and depending on where you hit it, it's usually capable of taking upwards of 75% of the life away from Clash. This is the second round in a row on Statuary and Trophy that we've seen Breezy get down. Now the smoke is going to get picked back up. I'm not exactly certain what Breezy is doing to constantly find himself in positions where he's in certain peril, but it's very dangerous. Now ZZ from below will get caught out from Foxay, and trying to launch a C4 up top. That's an excellent roam clear right now from C9. They've managed to take control of that master bedroom, and you see an asphyxiating bolt from Goddess has gone out as well, as there's two bodies from Noble playing inside of astronomy, one of which happens to be the Clash. Acid's also up there, and joint combination of both Fox A as well as Laxing down below are going to try to open up that floor beneath the feet of Noble and cause them a lot of discomfort and possibly take a lane away for them to be able to rotate back. But here it is. Yeti on the deep flank will take out Fox A as the IQ unable to get up the stairs. And a second kill for Yeti as he finds Goddess. What a play. That's Diffuser down in Bathroom and Noble in strong command of this round.
And that is exactly what you're looking to do with the Clash. We claimed it before, but gets taken down by Laxing from the back as there's nobody to watch. The only spot where you can get hits on the Clash, and Laxing will get yet another one on Yeti, taking him down. 2 players left alive. Breezy, the first man down, has been picked up, of course, at 50 health, but he's got to have to worry about multiple angles pushing in. I wonder if he still has any of those toxic babes to use. Laxing is going to move in from the classical hall, and he knows that there's at least one player to expect in Trophy. Just moves in bit by bit. You see the smoke has already set up his shotgun in hand. Find the angle though. Breezy will go down. Only asset alive with 20 seconds on the clock. A lot of work to be done here by the Polish players. It moves into Trophy room. Has to contest against the Ash here as Drone will get thrown in. He's going to try to contest the opposite end, but the Maverick is perfectly hidden by the statue and Laxing yet again holding the flank. Half of this round will get the win for C9.
4K for Laxing as he just goes unchecked, and the pacing of these 4 rounds has just been all over the place, especially on the 2 attempts that Noble has given to Statuary and Trophy. And given how poorly it went the first time around, I admire that they went back there a second time, but I would have preferred to possibly see them go to Kitchen and then maybe roll the die on the 5th defense downstairs, but that wasn't the case. Now they're going to go downstairs to Kitchen and Dining, which was where they were successful the first time that they defended. And I mean, a big part of that was C9 just weren't expecting the push from that art studio downstairs. Because they didn't catch the push from the studio or the long angle from the studio of the Valkyrie, they lost Goddess right away. They dithered as they didn't have control or command of the second floor over top of the site. It's something that Noble didn't relinquish, and then Cloud9 weren't able to get anything going. And when they did finally try to push into the site at the final dying seconds of the round, well, they were just greeted by everybody else on Noble pushing outwards, knowing that they had the opportunity to do that and just getting rebuffed at every advance. So the good news for C9 is that even if they do lose the first half, they've taken 2 rounds and they've kept this gap very close on a map like where we said you should be winning your defenses. And I mean, a big part of that for Noble has been the fact that just like with C9, C9's members have been allowed to roam and nobody's been able to catch them. We've seen the same thing from Noble. They're running around. Yeti's got 7 kills, doing a pretty damn good job if I don't say, if I do say so myself. He usually does top frag on that team, and when Yeti goes quiet, the rest of the team typically tends to as well. So you have to be able to keep that up on both sides. And this is a good map for Yeti in the sense that he usually inhabits the role of the soft breacher, possibly on a buck. And I mean, you mentioned it right at the start. Tons of destructible floors, lots of opportunity for soft breach, which is something that we've actually seen Cloud9 forego. They really haven't focused a lot on that soft breach. They had the Ash last round in particular of Laxing, but I mean, that was really just about it. So,
yeah, not much uses of the Zofia so far. But this time the big change is that they bring the Thermite again. They realize the Maverick alone will not be enough for us to go through the wall into Dining. So we'll bring Goddess on the standard roll, usually the Thermite, and in this case, just going to bring up the Operator again. They're worried about the angle. There you go.
I mean, you almost always have to commit somebody to looking over there because you've got the 2 windows above, you've got the run out on the balcony from Aviator, and you've got the art studio doorway. That's 3 to 4 opportunities that the defenders have to possibly catch you looking if nobody's paying attention.
I mean, the big change as well from C9 is that they forego having the Dokkaebi on the squad. She offers quite a bit to the team, but they're not as worried about the roam play as they were before. One player might not be enough for them to justify having the Operator with them, but right now there's no control of the top of the bedroom. They're still sitting outside of it, and Acid is just keeping tabs on his opponents. The C4 is going to get thrown out, and unfortunately will not connect with anything. Not even able to destroy the Thermite charge. As Mark is trying to make his life a bit more complicated, that blowtorch is still fairly silent, but very smartly done here by Mark is that he doesn't overexpose himself through the hole. The flash is going to get thrown in, but it bounces back into Mark. Zofia from the other end, though, slowing Acid down. Still in the kitchen. Still with goo mines in the foot of... Oh, there you go. Fox is going to take down Crazy. So now we'll have some sort of opening on the site and immediately fixing the problem. Let's go for plant. Laxing and Mark will catch 2, though, off on the rotation. Yeti with 1. The smoke close in as the C4 will not connect. Breezy's looking to move through and stick the diffuser here. Do they have the info on this? Look at the run out here. Retro will get 1, and it's Yeti from the back. He'll get 1, but Fox will trade it out. And an interesting change of dynamic here. 3 rounds on the attacking side of Villa for C9. That's pretty darn good.
That's not something that you should have happening,
no.
You know. And now we'll see how Cloud9 is capable of doing on the other side of the field as Noble, who are typically a team that have a lot of aggression in spade when they come on to attack. But, I mean, that round in particular was very interesting. Mark was essentially out of action for the entire round. He got the, he got the Maverick holes in that were needed. He couldn't get the flash off. You're just waiting on the pulse on the other side to challenge him. He ends up stepping in a goo mine. We really didn't see an awful lot there from Mark. And despite that, in what could have been considered a 4v5, C9 still pull it off. And there have been too many rounds now where Noble's just not looking the right way, especially on the Glass plays. Laxing in that 1 round on Trophy Statuary, being able to get the down onto Breezy, and then Foxe getting the lead kill on that 5th round. As Glass with almost 0 coverage from Noble. I don't know if Noble are failing to communicate it to one another, or if their strats don't involve them keeping eyes on every single opening, but it's definitely something that has now bit them on 2 rounds against C9. So that was definitely something that went sideways for Noble. It's a problem that they're not going to have to worry about again because they're not going to have to defend anymore. But if they don't have adequate coverage now, especially in terms of flanks, you have to worry about it against Cloud9 because, you've got 3 pretty competent roamers depending on the way that things are going to go with Foxe, Laxing, and Mark. And if you can get to the site, yeah, your chances are going to be better against Cloud9, but if this coordination that we haven't really seen materialize from Noble persists, it could possibly be a huge problem.
Yeah, well, so far, Noble are taking their time to move in onto the site, as they're going to try to push in from the opposite end. When you're defending an Aviator, most teams will go through from the veranda here to move through into the main office. However, what some others will do is come in from the opposite end from the bedroom, and then clear up through Trophy, etc., to move into the site. Similar thing here that you can do when attacking Trophy is that you'll come in from the opposite end of the map and try to clear things through, as Noble themselves were trying to utilize the clash when they were on the defense to run this to their advantage. Here, they at least won't have to worry about that, but this leaves Goddess in a much better position if she decides to run through with the mute and chuck up those C4s. So right now, just a bit of damage done here. And oh, Crazy finds the shot! Mark is going to go down through the wall, and yet he's only down. He's not taken out. Should be able to pick up the buck pretty darn easily, utilizing those holes of the Glass perfectly here. Remember, Glass used to destroy those castle barricades with 11 shots. Does not do that anymore at all. You cannot destroy it with your OTS-03.
A test actually that's being had on the test server, if I remember correctly, is that he can't even shoot through them anymore, I think is one of the tests that they're possibly undergoing, which is a really nice buff to Castle overall. But anywho, Yeti does get reset. He'd sustained a little bit of damage from his fight with Goddess, playing all the way at the end of the hallway. It did appear that the mute was able to get back as ZZ was trying to figure out where the mute was being played, but just couldn't use those small little peepholes through the castle barricade to any major success.
Crazy just continuing in on the drone as Legion will get a bit of information in. C9, of course, on the backhand, having lost Mark early on, a player that has put quite a bit of work on the board within the past few weeks, and in this matchup here, Yeti has of course been picked up, and there you go. Set up the Claymore, make sure that it does not give C9 the ability to move behind you. As you already see, the Legion of Fox fairly close up to Noble, down below on the stairs. As Yeti just moves into Trophy entrance and is ready to get into the site. The Legion is downstairs and might force the Zofia down and at least to hold the angle. No, it's Retro just to go down.
He gets very aggressive, but there's Laxing for the refrag. Trades off Retro for $1. That's a win in my books. Got us there to silence Breezy. And, well, it's a 3v3, though. ZZ on very low HP. Crazy blows open the castle barricade, and, well, they're running out of time. They're going to have to dump all their utility into B as the Maverick walks in, and Acid's going to try to go for the plant, but he'll get vaporized. They'll have to grab that diffuser, and Crazy will hit 0 as he starts to plant. Foxay's the only one up, and he'll walk right into ZZ, but get the down. Foxay will have to stop him, and right as the Zofia comes off, Crazy anticipates the knife. Go get your kill, Foxay. That's 4-2 as C9 will have an easy destruction of the diffuser, and they'll win their first defensive round.
Commendable from Fox, to say the least. Even being a player down, they're able to bring it back there at the end. Laxing actually was sitting in the corner of Trophy, and he got the first kill, able to eliminate one, and then the call-out immediately went in for the Zofia, who came in and knifed him and took him out, and then moved into the opposite end for the plant. Unfortunately, too little health that was left and not enough time. You mentioned it, at the 14-second mark, that's when the Zofia was using all of her utility to get onto Trophy. So there was nothing left for later, and the players weren't even all there. And it didn't even affect Laxing. He was sitting on the side. It affected the Maverick more than anybody else, who was not able to spot the player on the side. More manpower was lost on the side of Noble, and by the end, not enough crossfire. You saw the gush that was played out at the end. Maybe if the PMM was in play, it would have been a different different outcome, as Fox did not have much HP left on his Legion by the end, taking no damage from the Zofia. Hey, hindsight, always 20/20, right?
I mean, the thing with the pistol that Glaz can bring is that the PMM has an incredibly high DPS, but it has a very small magazine. Whereas the alternate is, on the secondary gun, the GSH or the Gush, is that it has a huge magazine.
Pea shooter.
But it doesn't do a lot of damage. Right, and I mean, there's a thought process behind it. You know, if headshots are a one-shot kill, which they are, then maybe go with the gun that has the most amount of bullets, because then you have maybe a higher likelihood of landing one. I don't know, but at this level, I think it's more of a flip of the coin. And I mean, it was I think we saw it in Latin America when WOG ran with a Glaz for 2 rounds. He had 0 attachments on anything, and of course, you're gonna have, you know, the non-PMM pistol being, you know, held off. So anyway, as is typical, 30 seconds into this round, you hear Retro once again out of mags on the smoke. This is something that is instrumental to C9's construction of the site, or deconstruction, depending on how you view it, is that he routinely uses his shotgun to its fullest. And, well, would you look at that? Crazy just narrowly avoiding an explosion at his feet. And he'll manage to walk away. He just takes a little bit of damage.
Was that an impact that was to him?
I think that was an impact, yeah. It would strike me as that it was either Foxay or the Vigil of Laxing who were able to who throw the impact, which, mind you, it can do up to 60 damage, if I recall, against a 3-speed, but, I mean, through the floor, it's certainly not a nitro cell worthy of damage.
This is one thing that I highlighted in the previous round, where if you want to push into Aviator, you can come in from the opposite end through the bedroom and then have some sort of hold on the opposite side. This is what is happening here with ZZ having the Glaz. He'll try to hold onto the L hallway and make sure there's no flanks coming in from that side. And Noble, in the meantime, will have clear reign on the bedroom as they try to move in through Trophy, and they'll take control of the staircase yet again. They'll put up their Claymore. Grenade's going to get thrown in just to make sure they clear out any mute jammers that are on the back. They don't even need that. They already have the Maverick here of Acid, so they're going to be able to burn a small hole to peep through the big rotation part of this site outside of your normal destroyed walls. Of course, that's the safe in the back.
Now, a couple things to note here. Number one, they are very, very worried about a possible flank, and that's Noble investing maybe a bit too many eyes towards flank watch. They got a Claymore down on the red stairs, but you've also got Crazy doing flank watch on the stairs. You had the Buck of Yeti looking all the way down 90 towards the top of the stairs as well in case somebody pushes, and I mean, it's not going to do them any well. Not enough eyes on the site. Goddess gets the first kill, refragged by ZZ, so long to the mute. Laxing gets finished off. It's a double kill for the Glaz amidst the smoke plant going down, and well, it's going to be quite successful. So 2 rounds in a row, and Noble will do their job to get Diffuser down. It's going to be incumbent upon C9 to retake here. Breezy very low on HP, but everybody else on Noble fighting fit. Foxay still trying to wait against the flank watch. He'll down Capitao. Breezy didn't have very much HP. Anticipating a push, he'll see the Zofia, and almost down Crazy. So long to Acid as Mark finds his target, and now we'll need to pick up Retro. This is a danger, and oh, ZZ is there to finish it off. A wise choice from Mark until the final second as it works against them. And Noble needed this round, and they will get it.
Literally caught with their pants down there, unfortunately, and the Glaz is able to finish things off. Of course, the smoke being the final tick of damage that was required to finish off one of the players. So overall, I love the idea from C9 of playing from below. This is, again, something that we saw Millennium, for example, in EU have to play against when they played against Secret, if I'm not mistaken. Having both the Legion and the Vigil downstairs is a very, very good. I think just revealing your position early on for a bit of a greedy pick or potential greedy pick on the Zofia with the impact kind of ruined things. It put too many eyes from Noble on the flank watch, as you mentioned, but as they saw that there was nobody coming up to that position, just executed on the site and got the plant down. And by that point, the players had already retreated to a better post-plant position where they could just watch Fox, for example, walking up the stairs. He'll have to face against 3 rifles that are looking at him. He gets 1 kill. You're not going to be able to clean all of them when you have 2 sides to look at the same time.
I mean, you had both Laxing and Foxay sitting downstairs, neither of whom had a C4. There was no real indirect or direct plant denial that was available to either of them. Noble did the smart job of not committing any bodies to a downstairs clear in which they could possibly be caught in a crossfire, get traded off by Cloud9, or ultimately get jumped upon. So you basically had 2 members of Cloud9 who were ineffective for most of that round in terms of Laxing and Foxay. It was a bit too disjointed of a roam, and it didn't really have any, you know, major map control for them. But even still, you had, as I said, you had maybe too many bodies from Noble that were flank watching, but despite this, whether they flank watched or not, Yeti ended up falling off. They kept Crazy on flank watch, sure, and ZZ ended up catching 1 of the roamers as they tried to come back to site, which was Laxing. The rest of Noble did a very strong effort on the site to get the plant down, and I think this is the 2nd round in a row that we've seen Acid in the midst of smoke go for the plant, and there's been no answer there for Cloud9. I mean, even look at it right now. Unless Goddess is running a bulletproof camera, she's the only person that could be capable of having a nitro cell. But she does have a nitro cell, which is good, but that outside of the smoke, that's the only plant denial you have, and that's been missing from these 2 rounds of C9. They did manage to win on Trophy, as now Crazy's going to take even more damage from that impact nade. He's going to lose about 50 HP. But I'm a little confused as to why we don't see more of an investment from Cloud9 to possibly have those explosives to take out anybody from the attackers who might be planting amidst the smoke.
And that's why a Goddess will get the kill on Crazy, so at least taking down the Zofia to get the finisher here. But the big question is, as you mentioned, why isn't there more explosive denial? But more importantly, why is it not being played from downstairs where you could have Goddess, for example, playing off the site? You're not required to have the mute on the site. He's not going to do anything like mute juggle, quote unquote. Have the Legion on the site if you want, and have the mute off of it. Then you can combo the impacts with the C4 from Laxing and, of course, the muted Goddess, instead of having those 4 impacts where you're not always going to be able to do too much with them. But here Goddess is just going to stick on the site. She still has the C4 to play with, and you already see the buck on the outside here by the stairs, as Breezy this time will be setting up his Claymore. Maverick's going to get down to business and just open a bit of an angle for the Buck of Yeti to look through. And again, shut down any rotations that'll happen through the gun vault.
And this is almost the exact same setup that we see from Noble. The key difference is that they've got Yeti being a bit more aggressive, trying to hunt down the off-site players from C9, but everything else is going pretty well in hand. And well, there you go. Yeti will take out Laxing as Laxing tries to get back to site. The Vigil won't have any success, and Yeti will catch his 2nd. As you say, so long to Mark, an anticipatory shot through the doorway as he's unable to land the shots onto Retro. Needed Retro will trade the shots off, and oh, there's ZZ. Take out Goddess before Goddess gets Acid. ZZ will be tagged in with 15 seconds to go in order to get the plant down, and he's the only one left as Breezy gets felled by Foxay. PMM is out for ZZ, and that's a lot of damage. Retro down on the floor will mean that Foxay, with 5 seconds, will need to hustle and hurry as quickly as he can. But this should be quite easy for ZZ to be able to get this down and stick to it. All the Glaz needs to do is hold off, and, well, I mean, you have the retake potential for Fox A here. PMM in hand for the Glaz. He's going to look around the bar. His head will pop up for just a second, and Fox A will be alerted to the position of the Glaz. ZZ will just very quietly move off-site and wait. Oh, he pops up, though, and Fox A doesn't see him. He'll try to draw out the Glaz as he sticks for the defuse, and well, here comes the Glaz in. He's just going to waste time. We're staring down a 4v4. ZZ doing an excellent job of just playing keep away. Here goes Fox A yet again, but he's going to need to stick it. He's running very, very low on time, and ZZ's in, and Noble will get their second round in a row in a very, very similar fashion. Excellent job by them, and we're all tied up.
The mind game from ZZ. Just absolutely fantastic little play there. The fact that he juked out Fox in that position, the advantage was all in C9's hand, and then wasted again. The Glaz moved behind the bar and was able to get the kill on the player that was sitting behind it. Unfortunate there, as maybe in that position you're not expecting the PMM to be out and for the Glaz to be hunting you by the end to take you out. But again, that speaks volumes to the ballsy play of ZZ, and worked out perfectly for him at the end, able to use every single audio cue to his advantage to move back and at least delay Fox. Because at that point, if you're Fox, there's not much that you can do. You have to stick the diffuser. You want to chase. You're not sure if that PM is going to one-tap you or two-tap you. So you got to be very careful about how you play the 1v1. At the end, with not much time left, you're going to have to stick it or die.
Here's one piece of criticism towards the way that C9 plays this. If Retro had have had even one shell in his shotgun, that is an immensely winnable angle from him. Lying on the floor, all he needs to do is pop around the corner, or even if the Glaz gets in range. If he can see the Glaz in time, mind you. That's a lot easier to do than with the SMG-11. And because of this, you can't play your smoke as aggressively. You can't have the smoke hold an angle with the shotgun out. Just be able to pop around and 1-2 blasts, get the kill, get the down, etc. I mean, tough to speculate on that because who knows, without Retro exhausting all of his shotgun shells, if C9's defense is as strong as it was before. But that's definitely a situation where if Retro had the ability to use the shotgun and not just the SMG-11, that's probably a one round from Cloud9 because he can play around the bar and be able to peek the Glaz when he knows the rush is coming, and all it takes is one blast from the shotgun. So overall, 2 attempts for Cloud9 on that site. Didn't really see that much through. A better attempt the second time around, but they know that match point is on the line in this round. Trophy has unlocked again, so don't try for the third attempt. Third time might be a charm. If you win trophy here and you're sitting on match point, then you can try it on the final round of the matchup. But I think this is a smart choice here. And, I mean, Noble looked listless the last time they attacked the site. Remember, they got the diffuser down, but then after that, they didn't have the full coverage needed. Fox A with a huge clutch. It came pretty close. But at the same time, there was a restlessness in Noble through that mid-round where they almost ended up losing the round and needed Cloud9 to have the heroics at the end to take it. So this is a site that Cloud9 could see slip away and Noble could surprise.
A very word for C9 is, of course, they're definitely not looking for a tie here. If they can get the win, it moves them much further away from their current position in the standings and possibly secures them that 6th spot to not have to face the relegations at all. So there's few things that might be haunting C9 as Noble get closer and closer to at least a potential tie if they're able to take this round. Definitely not a position that C9 would like to be in, but Noble at this point are just trying to scrape by with any points that they can get on the board to avoid that 8th spot with the Obey very close behind. ZZ gets the quick spot here in the back, but it's Fox to take down ZZ. The battle of the snipers with the T5 taking the win. Maverick Holt playing against Noble, and as Emzo would say, it works both ways.
I am astounded that ZZ was not able to get the shot off fast enough to outduel Fox A. He knew it was going to be coming. You have to be ready for that, but it only takes a couple seconds and, well, possibly the lone C4, depending on what Laxing has in hand, is gone. Got us downstairs, tries to get new engagement and will lose it. But Yeti, who'd gotten that kill, well, he's gone. Mark is there to avenge his teammate and put more pressure on Noble. They've got 40 seconds left, so there's appropriate timing here, though the Legion of Fox A is in quite a bit of trouble. Two sights trained his way. Oh, no! Acid! Oh no! He looks the wrong way, and Crazy will get it. And as Breezy tries to come in, he'll manage to slap Laxing down. But Foxay being gifted a huge mistake from Noble, a heartbreaker, and a guaranteed 1 point for Cloud9 as they sit on match point as we head to round 10.
Oh my god. That was insane. They had the advantage to move in from the bathroom. There was only one player in the back for Legion that really was contesting them. They had already done a ton of damage to Laxing. You had the Capitao on the outside, unable to get the positioning on his asphyxiating bolt, as they had, for some reason, not drawn at the Legion in the back. And as they pin him down for potential grenades, the buck falls to the Jaeger, and then they just come in on the site. As they're executing, Glaz misses the shot, hits his teammate. Unfortunately, as he's walking right into the doorway. It's just very unfortunate. There's no way around it. It was a mistake and nothing more. That round might have been Noble's to win. And in such a tight position, somehow, when 1 round ago we were talking up Noble and how close they are to potentially a win that C9 does not want to happen, we get to a position here, Parker, where things have been switched around due to a very tiny error, but again, professional play. That is all that it takes for you to lose the round and potentially secure yourself that 8th place. Definitely not something that Noble are looking forward to here. Looking for at least 1 point at the end of the day, as of course their struggle does not end with 1 more week left next week. And
C9 are safe from relegation if they get this point as well, and I think that's something worth keeping in mind for everybody here, and that this is tough for Noble, right? You know, you've got your opponents in this relegation spot of Obey having the much harder schedule moving forward, so you have that working for you. You know, we're very much in the realm where if Noble is able to get a victory here, that could almost guarantee their spot, that they wouldn't end up in 8th. I mean, obviously the numbers need to be there, but that was a huge round for Noble, and that's unfortunately, when you look back, if Noble ends up being the team that gets relegated either in 8th or in 7th place, and their Pro League season and their Pro League career, at least for the time being, comes to an end, that right there is something that's going to be remembered, because that was very winnable. You had C9 in perfect position. You had the Legion locked down. I don't know what was happening there, but some wires got crossed at some point, and it just it blew it for them.
it must weigh heavily here on Noble. No pun intended, obviously Heaven's not playing, but Acid at least going to try to move in. They need to secure this round. 1 point is already something. So they have to work with whatever they've got. So the Maverick opening up a side hole here to look into the bar and maybe try to find an angle on possible smoke of Retro. It's playing close to it. And he's off of it. He's got the Goddess as well close up to run if need be. So they got a couple angles with Goddess watching it. No snipe early on, as we saw with Legion pass, but Aziz is going to get the first one on Mark. So he takes down the Jaeger early on. The C4 does not connect, unfortunately, with not much damage done to Noble. All advantage for the attackers.
And an excellent opportunity here, as we've seen Noble using a different way of attacking this site than we saw previously. They won the 2 rounds on Aviator before, and C9 will need to win this site for the first time if they want their chances to be anything outside of a draw. But Noble's throwing a bit of a curveball as they're attacking instead from the study rather than going from 90. Oh, Goddess says goodbye to Crazy, and Acid takes out Retro, and then Yeti is there. Everything falling to pieces for C9 for the time being. The C4 had missed earlier on, Execute going out, but oh, Fox will outduel ZZ, and he'll take down Acid as well. Fox the triple! He's single-handedly keeping his team in it. Breezy will need to meander towards the site and get in a hurry. Fox A still downstairs. Plant going down for Breezy, but there's 2 from C9 who can possibly still deal with this Capitao. And the Capitao gets spotted, and there's Goddess with the clutch! And it will be an easy defuse as C9 will take it. Fox A, the hero for his team time and time and time again. And that's a big victory for Cloud9. 6-4.
Oh my. This is way too close, honestly. This is only the beginning of the day, and not even the biggest theoretical game of this play day, and still, outstanding bit of play from both teams, really, with a lot of executions that worked perfectly. If you want a class on how to use Maverick, this is a match that you should definitely rewatch. Gives you a lot of information on how to play him in general, but especially on Villa. Fox's play, absolutely excellent, and in a way that he would understand perfectly. Bellissimo. Fantastic bit of play of Legion there.
Very fitting, given the fact that it was on the Italian map as well of Villa. So, but that last round, until Foxay comes in on the flank, gets 2 huge kills, one from below, then one on the stairs. The Gumine is there as well. That round, 100% is Noble's.
Yep.
And I think you could make a pretty credible argument that those 2 final rounds that we saw in that matchup were both just stay the course, continue to do what you need to do, pushing onto the site as we saw. Don't team kill each other. And both of those rounds could have quite easily gone in Noble's favor. And that's going to be something where they've got 1 match left. Noble will end the day no matter what happens with Obey. Noble will end the day sitting in that dead last spot. You're going to rewatch your footage. You're going to rewatch your VODs, and you're going to go back and you're going to do the post-mortem and see what went wrong. What could we have fixed? And those 2 rounds will haunt you.
Yeah.
Both of them, they slipped right through their fingers.
That team kill and then a 4v2. Every single advantage in the hands of Noble. And unfortunately, thrown away, I want to say, in the first one of those on round 9. But then once we headed into the 10th round, 4v2. You got it all. You got the position for the plant. You have security on the site. You only have 1 Maverick hole that's opened up. More than enough for you to get into the site, but also more than enough to not have to worry about the defenders pushing back onto you. There's still the mute, but the mute does not have a C4 to play with. The Legion's still available, but no impacts available as well. And they don't have any information on the site because there was no yokai, for example, no echo plate at all on this round.
I mean, I have to look at that final round. After that mistake that happened in the 9th round, the team kill, it was perfectly lined up. You could have gotten Foxay there. He was sitting in Astronomy. He was very vulnerable. He had under half of his HP. That was an easy pick. Then you really have who? You had one other body, I think, inside of Astronomy. It might have been Laxing, if I remember correctly. That was seated there.
I think it was playing the Jaeger that came back. Or no, the Bandit.
Could have been even Retro. I'm not entirely certain, but that was very easy for you to be able to hold that position and hold that angle, get Foxay, and then you can just continuously push into the rest of the site and get the plant down. That's tough. They came back. And it's very easy for a team to tilt and to get into their own heads and end up sabotaging themselves, but they, I think, recovered quite gracefully on that final round and got so close, and it's always seems to be Foxay every single time. And I mean, it'll be no different here as we have an interview with none other than Davide Bucci, Foxay himself, who, congratulations on what is a huge victory. You are now safe from possibly being in one of the 2 relegation spots, so there you go. I want to talk about actually you playing in this team house here, because there aren't a lot of teams outside of the Latin America region who compete in a team house. Since the team relocated, or at least most of the team relocated, what's been the biggest adjustment and change that you've seen so far, and how has it affected your performance and cohesion as a team?
I mean, I think the synergy is a lot better. Instead of spending just scrims together in some games, we kind of spend like the whole day together. So I don't know, we build a lot of chemistry, and like the inside jokes and everything just keep building. So, you know, having more fun in game just, in my opinion, equals to more wins. So the more inside jokes, the more fun we're having, everything. Yeah, it's better. I don't know. It just feels good to be with my teammates.
Well, I'm intrigued by it because it's something that we haven't really seen the prevalence of gaming houses inside of North America and EU. You know, there's been maybe shared space in terms of like workspaces and stuff like that. But we'll focus on this game against Noble here. Noble's a very aggressive team. You have been ironing out some kinks over the last little while. And I mean, over the last couple weeks, your team has had an almost allergic reaction to being able to plant the diffuser in most circumstances. This time around, you only got, if my numbers are correct, you only got 1 diffuser down, but you didn't really need it because you just simply won straight up fights in the other 2 victories you had on attack. When you're going back and reviewing the footage and finding yourself in these positions, which in hindsight look very easy for you to get a diffuser down, do you realize that it's more about strategies falling apart? Do you realize that you might need to work on coordination? Is it the team comms that are falling off? What do you build upon in those instances?
Yeah, so for the other games, we should have planted the bomb a lot of the times that we didn't. Specifically for this game, I think most of our attacks, um, planting the diffuser wasn't even in the question because either the strat fell apart at the start or it succeeded to the point where we just eliminated everyone and we couldn't get the diffuser down anyway. So, I mean, for this game specifically, it would be less like team comms, team mistakes, and more just trying to like Noble like playing really well to counter us and us trying to adapt to that. We couldn't get a diffuser down because they were stopping our diffuse plants. So just the rounds that we did win, we ended up just eliminating the whole enemy team. And yeah, I mean, going back watching it, I'm sure there's going to be some mistakes that we'll probably hit ourselves for, but I don't know, it's getting better. And then again, being in a team house, being able to say things to each other's face and not to a computer kind of makes it less criticizing because it's like, oh, you know, we just want to help each other out rather than you did something wrong, please fix it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's no team is going to emerge from a game completely happy about their performance. Even with a victory, there's usually things that you can continue to work on, build upon, and improve upon. And I mean, hey, you're going to have a full other season of Pro League here for you to be able to help iron that out. So congratulations on your victory today and your ability to avoid that relegation spot. Anything to say to the Cloud9 fans in chat before we end the interview?
We had a rough start of the season, but we're hoping to turn things around. And yeah, we'll see you guys at the Invitational and lands and stuff. Whatever. Bye.
A very graceful exit. Thank you so much.